Hey, what up guys, and welcome to another episode of Creased. Now, we've mentioned a couple times that this year is actually an anniversary year for the Air Force One. So what we're going to do in this episode is do a little bit of a history lesson for you guys that may not know, and then also, run through some things that you should be looking out for this year. And I might show off a couple pairs myself. Now, whether you call them Uptowns or Air Force Ones, as they're so named, they've been around since 1982. They were actually discontinued shortly thereafter, but brought back in 86. And they've basically had a resurgence in every decade. I can't remember them in the 90s, but I'm sure they were there. Actually, considering they were worn by Ice Cube in Friday, I'm going to say that they had a little resurgence there. I remember first seeing them, I would say, on Dr. Dre.
I do, yeah.
I don't know if we want to know.
Those is Mondays?
Going back.
That's Monday?
That's Monday.
Okay, where your Tuesday joints?
Tuesday.
Okay, Tuesday.
Wednesday. Thursday. Friday.
I remember when I was in high school, a couple kids had them, and these were the first type of shoes that weren't necessarily like an Air Max or like a basketball shoe like the Reebok Pump that actually caught my attention. Around this time, I was skateboarding, so I'd probably gone away a little bit from sneakers, and then, a couple kids had Air Force Ones and shell toes, and I'm like, damn, like, there is nothing better than a crisp pair of Air Force One or white on whites. So much so that Nike had to put a limit on how many pairs you can actually purchase online or in store, because people like Maya, like Dre were buying them all up, and people want to keep them as crispy as they can, right? So that in itself created a market, so resellers started buying them up. And this is a GR release. This is something that you will see on the shelves every day of the week. That's crazy that became something to resell.
Let's go to the sneaker room and show y'all what I got, man. We about to sell my mess. Y'all ignore the mess or whatever, but we're about to sell him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 4.
And I've said probably last year, I'd hinted at, I feel like Air Force Ones are having a bit of a resurgence. They're putting a bit more effort in. There's some collabs, that sort of thing. And we know what Nike's timeline is like. Lo and behold, this year is an anniversary year. Now, I probably went away from the Air Force One when probably the fashion of shoes went towards things more slimmer. Like the Air Max 1 or even the Air Max Janoski. Nike free runs, that sort of thing. I reckon around that time when they all became sort of prominent, Air Force Ones just seemed like a brick on your feet. I'm not too sure, seeing other people wearing certain things and you look down and you go, this is a bit big. But for me over the years, like, I've always had them. If you don't know, I make music. My first ever show I performed in was in a pair of white on white Air Force Ones. Granted, I bought them from eBay and they may have been foo-foo, I'm not sure, but they were pretty rubbish and the price I paid, 2 pairs turned up, so you be the judge. I remember a couple years back when I needed to go to a wedding, I refused to buy a pair of shoes that I'm just not going to wear, right? So I bought a pair of black and white Air Force Ones. I've recently gone on to sell those, so in that time I only wore them the once to that wedding, so I could have just bought some dress shoes. But it is an anniversary year this year, and don't call it a comeback, because like we said, they've had multiple iterations, they've had multiple comebacks generationally. Like I said, when I was in high school, a little bit thereafter, and now again. I mean, it can't go past Nelly's joint Air Force One, right? That had a big part on it. What's that? Let's say, I want to say like 03? I feel like that's 03. Let's look that up. 2002. So yeah, high school for me. What's funny is I probably had that album and I heard the term Air Force Ones. I knew of the shoe Air Force Ones, but then like, obviously I wasn't listening to lyrics back then because for whatever reason I just thought it meant fly, like Air Force One, the presidential airplane, but no, I was just dumb as shit. Speaking of Nelly, I actually have something pretty crazy. Years and years go past, and there's a competition that Foot Locker did, and you basically won tickets to see B.O.B., Nelly, and Lupe Fiasco. The Newcastle show didn't actually have Lupe Fiasco, so it was just Nelly and B.O.B. B.O.B., I think I left pretty early in his set, but Nelly I stayed for the whole thing because, you know, as much as some of them joints can come back a little bit cringy, that's still nostalgia for me. But one of the other things that I won from that competition were these. These actually might be my first ever pair of mids. They're a size 12 Air Force One, signed by Nelly. Now I'm gonna have to get a bit of B-roll on them. What year was this? What year did these come out? Saying 2014, so they're a couple years old now. The box is haggard. I've tried to sell them a couple times, but when I actually went into my local Foot Locker to pick them up, because I was sent to my local Foot Locker and that's what I had to do, I actually said to him, I said, yo, you guys keep them, just give me 2 pairs of like normal ones and we'll call it a deal. I was like, you could sell them for more than that. They wanted to, but obviously couldn't. Hindsight, I don't know, it's a cool little conversational piece, and it makes, you know, for this video. But yeah, it is an anniversary year, and let's be honest, they started bringing back a few things last year. They had a few collabs, like the Undefeated collabs. They had the Halloween joints, the skeleton ones in the orange and the purple. They also did the NYC Jewel one. I remember Trinidad James saying he'd pay for like $300-400 for, which is crazy because they're still sitting at boutique joints. But I don't know what they're going to do for an anniversary, because I feel like white and whites and all black forces are in your local Foot Locker JD just about every other day. I have been noticing, you know, an all white Air Force One with like an orange swoosh or a blue swoosh, and that type of energy felt like it was huge in, say, 03, 05. So it's dope to see them come back. And initially when I saw them in store last year, late last year, early this year, I thought the exact same thing. The only thing I could think of to bring back that sort of peak period for mine with the Air Force One would be a bunch of patent leather releases. Maybe, and like they've been doing a bunch of premium leather ones too that you'll get again at those boutique type joints. And there's a black and white pair that I've had my eye on. I feel like the quality is so crazy that I'm gonna have to cop, right? But there's also those ones that I referenced that look like a Nintendo cartridge. A black and white one just came out from that pack. They're going to be doing a lot of things for the Air Force One this year, so keep your eyes peeled. There's something that has little to no hype, which is dope, because it means they're accessible. You can go into your local store and you're going to come across these. Even the Undefeated collab, I know of a couple websites that still have sizes in them. And those sizes that are sitting, I've seen reselling on StockX for well over, which is crazy. And I may cop because it is a size 9, right? I'm a size 10, but Air Force Ones can be a little bit big. I've got the recycled joints in a 9 and they fit. I've got to wear really thin socks, but I make them work, right? These Undefeated ones look like they got a much softer leather, so I feel like I may be able to work. Stay tuned for that. I may cop, I may not. But what we're going to do right now is just run through a few Air Force Ones that are coming out this year that you should be checking for. Now I'll admit I don't have a huge collection of Air Force Ones at the moment. Pretty much because there hasn't been many of note, except for white of whites and, you know, all black. There really hasn't been. Let's say in the last 6 months, I feel like they've been going hard. One of the first Air Force Ones that I took note of in recent times were these joints. These are the Colin Kaepernick Air Force Ones. The quality on the leather is insane. I didn't know that at the time. For me, it was just all the subtle details on there. You can tell I've actually worn them. But I actually wore these the other day as well. But for me, the story behind it, everything about it, I was all in. And, you know, black and white, you can't go wrong. It's neutral. Plus, I'm a sucker for an icy sole. But this was the first pair that I bought in years. And when I put them on, I was like, damn, I forgot how comfy an Air Force One is. And from there, I had to get these joints. Now these were a custom, Nike by You. As you can see, you've got the MITUS one on the back. Icy blue sole, because again, I'm a sucker. But I actually haven't worn these yet. I do, however, you see they've got the lace loop there. I've got some custom ones to put in there when I feel like relacing them. Just like I did for the Tinker joints, which we covered in another episode. If you haven't seen it, check right there. But I've got a specific time I want to wear these. It's either going to be because they are like a Bulldogs colorway. I'm either going to wear them to a game if they win a premiership, or like to say a game at the finals. I haven't worked out what. Maybe a game at Belmore, you know, lowering my expectations. But I feel like to break them out, it's got to be special. So that's kind of what I got in my head. One of the other ones I got, which I only just tried on the other day when I saw the undefeated 9s were sitting, were these. Because I remember these were either like a 9 or 9.5, and I wanted to double check that they did actually fit, and they did. I just, as you can see, had to do the laces, you know, a special way for my wide foot. But these are just so, man, these are crazy. Honestly, the blue on the sole, nice little accent. The materials here, crazy, and I believe, I don't know the percentage, but these are made from recycled materials, so good for the planet too. Obviously not owning a lot of shoes, and you know, people buying shoes when they need them as opposed when they want them would be better for the planet as well, but I like shoes, man. I can't believe I just almost forgot these, but I've got a couple more pairs of Air Force Ones I forgot about. This colorway is definitely like an 03-05 type of Air Force One. The difference is we got the Bugs Bunny on the side, bunch of Warner stuff on the tongue, and these were released with Space Jam 2. Super clean colorway. Haven't worn them yet, but I definitely will. Then we got these joints, which also released with Space Jam 2. Glow in the dark sole. Very satisfying plastic that rubs, and circuitry patterns all over that you can make out the shape of LeBron, Bugs Bunny, basketball, all that type of stuff. Really dope. These here should have been a dead giveaway. Those in the undefeateds and a bunch of other things honestly should have been a dead giveaway that they were going to do something big with the Air Force One. The only difference is every other shoe that we spoke about where they take a silhouette away and build it back up, they actually take it away. The Air Force One is always there. A little bit different, but I see what you did there, Nike. Very, very sneaky. What's crazy to me is how the Air Force One has gone. It's gone from a basketball shoe to, you know, within the highs and mids, to now predominantly I would say most people wear a low top. There was a point there in, I want to say like 07, 08, 09, where this was the go-to shoe for girls at a festival, with the top strap wearing the mids, right? Then in recent times, like we said, they're reselling. Then people have gone, nah, forget that, we like them worn. The more worn, it shows character. I don't think that's ever going to be the look, but to some people it is. But what is more than clear to see is the Air Force One isn't going anywhere. Similar to the shell toe, it is a staple silhouette. If Nike were to strip back their entire company to just a handful of silhouettes to cover the basics, right? The Air Force One is there all day because it is just that real easy casual type shoe. It has survived generations. It has survived all types of fashion. And it's still here. But what do you guys think? Do you mess with Air Force Ones? Do you not mess with the Air Force Ones? Me, I'm going to be watching this space. I'm trying not to cop as many pairs this year. I want to more so dig back and look at things that I want more so than going for things that are hype. I never really buy into the hype, but you know, when pairs are brand new, you get that rush of blood. Can I actually get it? Whoops, I actually got it. And that's what happened with, let's say, the Jordan 3 Unites that I sold recently after wearing once. But let us know in the comments. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and we'll be back with another episode of Creased. Peace.